on to what's in the past. We got to press forward to a greater hope and into a greater day. A greater hope and a greater day. And this is what I say, and I'm going to read the text. Here's a story. Here's a story of Jacob. At this point, all the boys are born. 12 tribes. They're in the land. It's status quo. They're in a mess. And the mess that they are in is a famine. Y'all, I'm telling you, whether you want to accept this or not, if we do not rise up as a succeeding generation, the spiritual famine that exists in America will remain. So here's Jacob with his boys. It's a family. And the boys got families and stuff like that. And Jacob, he looks over. He looks at his sons. And they're in a huddle. Judah, man, my wife is getting on me. Simeon is saying, your wife getting on you. My wife and my kids getting on me. And then Issachar say, we gonna have to do something. And then Dan and Zebulun say, yes, brothers, we're gonna have to do something. It would seem like being in the family, status quo mess, that the thing to do is to huddle up. Because in America, the West, we like to huddle up. We like to have meetings. Let's have a meeting. We huddle up. That's what they were doing. That's the right thing to do. We got to come up with a solution. We got to be solution oriented. So Jacob is the elder. He's the father. He's more mature than his boys. He looks over at his boys and he walks over. He walks over to his sons, steps in the circle of his boys. So you got to be a dad to understand when you got your kids around, your chest stick out. Jacob stands in the middle of his boys, shaking his head, and he said, I've observed a international trend. I've looked at it, and I see the trend. People are going to Egypt. There's provision in Egypt. And he looks at his boys, and he said, I would expect that at this point, you would have been able to observe the trend, but you're still immature. You're still little boys. And then Jacob rises up as the elder, the father of his sons, and he says, why do you stand here indolent? He says that to his boys. And indolent comes from the Septuagint translation. That's the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible. And it says, Jacob says, why do you stand here indolent? And that's what God is saying to us as a succeeding generation. Why do you stand here indolent? Why are you not studying international trends? Why are you only focused on what's going on in America? Why is your mind only on the American dollar? There are other dollars in other countries. Why is your mind not elevated to be able to not acting indolent? Indolent means this: inactive in international affairs. Jacob looked at his sons and said, why are y'all indolent, inactive in international affairs? Your families are starving, your children are starving, and you want to play church. You don't want to be mature, study international trends because you see yourself as a little grasshopper.